This video is a must-watch if anxiety or stress is interfering with your business, your career, your relationship, your personal life, your goals. If stress and anxiety are sabotaging you, I'm going to share with you in this video 7 mindset shifts that can help you live a stress and anxiety-free life. Let's dive into it now. And in case you're new to me, welcome to the conversation. My name is Dan Candell. I'm known worldwide as the Anxiety Relief Guy. It's my job to help you reprogram your subconscious mind and your nervous system so that way you can change your relationship with stress and anxiety. This means have more wins than losses, have more good days than bad days, and have more breakthroughs than breakdowns so life just seems easier and more enjoyable. And that's what I help a lot of my clients with. I'm going to share with you 7 mindset shifts that are going to help you do exactly that. So, welcome to the conversation. Let's get started. Full disclosure, I do have some notes out here in front of me because I tend to veer a little off course sometimes, and I want to make sure we keep this video as short as possible. Mindset shift numero uno: break the anxious identity. Many people who are easily anxious, easily stressed out, who worry about things, take anxiety on as part of their identity. It becomes part of who they are, and it is controlling absolutely every decision or almost every decision they make. You might be wondering, Dan, how do I know if I have an anxious identity? Well, if you use words like my anxiety or my stress, or if you say things like I'm always so stressed out or I'm always so anxious, or if you say to yourself, that's just the way I am, or you think that's just how things are supposed to be, chances are you probably have an anxious identity. The good thing is there's something that we can plug into place where we actually switch your identity from an anxious, stressed out identity to one that is calm and in control, and that of a problem solver instead of a problem maker or problem perceiver. Now, this gets into why do we have anxiety in the first place? The reason why we have anxiety is because of what we call negativity bias. We want to see the negative in things or pick out the negative things that we perceive could happen because it's innate within us to keep ourselves safe. And our brain is wired to see things that are negative or problematic, thinking that's going to protect us. What it actually does, though, it makes us stupid. It clouds our judgment and it clutters our mind. We cannot operate in a highly functional mode when we are feeling stressed or anxious. So if anxiety is something or stress is something that you repeatedly feel over and over and over again, you probably have an anxious identity. Resolving that anxious identity and replacing it with a better one is something that I have helped thousands of my clients with. And it's a lot easier than you think. It's usually based on the questions we ask ourselves. So when we break that anxious identity, all of a sudden, we feel more complete, we feel more in control, and we're responding to things differently. I gotta be honest though, this grinds my gears. I was watching a psychologist talk about negativity bias and talk about a couple of grounding techniques. This video got thousands and thousands of views. So I'm scrolling through some of the comments. And there were people that were saying, oh, this will never work for me, or, oh, this makes me anxious just hearing this. And if that's you, again, you are not only struggling with negativity bias, you're also struggling with confirmation bias. Confirming everything that confirms your belief about yourself that you cannot break free from anxiety. Now, I've worked with a lot of people with that fixed mentality or that fixed mindset. And like I said, switching the anxious identity is actually one of the first steps that can help you change your relationship completely with stress, anxiety, overwhelm, worry, and even doubting yourself. So let's now get to the second mindset shift that you can make. The second mindset shift that you can make is make sure that you are clearing the underlying emotional core to the stress, to the anxiety, to the worry, to the doubt, to the overwhelm, even some of those anxious habits that we sometimes acquire. Now, here's how this works. We are all like these massive emotional human trash compactors. Our emotions are messengers. They're trying to get our attention. But what happens is we bury them. We ignore them, or we think we've made peace with them, and we really haven't. So every problem that we have, every anxious habit that we have, it has an underlying emotion that was trying to once get our attention. What we want to do on a regular basis, we want to clear those underlying emotions that are causing the stress and the anxiety. Now, there are many ways to clear the underlying emotional core, and some of them are nervous system techniques, some of them are hypnotic strategies, some of them are a combination of the both, some of them are more physical, some of them are more mental. But that's why in my clearing group that I hold every single week, hordes of people go on this clearing group and we just clear all the shit that's been keeping them emotionally clogged. We also have stuck emotions, right? These stuck emotions that are stuck in our nervous system. And many people think they have to go to years of therapy or take mind-altering medications to get those emotions dealt with, or that they have to understand those emotions. And you don't. All you have to know is how to clear those on an underlying emotional core by down-regulating the nervous system and reprogramming the subconscious mind. Now, the shift is this can help you gain clarity, and it can really help you deal with stressful situations or situations that you used to perceive as stressful, where the things that used to bother you now empower and inspire you instead. When you learn how to identify and then release those emotions on a deep nervous system level, and you start clearing those stuck emotions, you start healing unresolved feelings that were caused by trauma, unresolved feelings and belief systems. You start to clear all of that, and you start to align it with who you really are. And the person you really are isn't an anxious person. The person who you really are isn't a person who's destined for misery and stress. And that brings me to the third shift. The third mindset shift that we want to make is to become aware of your 5 personal core values. We all have 5 core values. And the reason why many of us feel stressed and anxious and overwhelmed and worried and doubting ourselves is because, number one, most of us don't know what our personal 5 core values are. And number 2, many of us, they are way out of whack and they are out of alignment. So they're misaligned with the things that we're doing in life and the people that we are, the people or the things that we are allowing into our lives. So once you become aware of your 5 core values, it's going to explain so much to you. It's going to give you deep insight into who you are, why you attract and allow into your life what you do, and it's going to give you some insight into how to make sure your core values are fulfilled so you don't feel like you're in constant resistance. Resistance equals anxiety and stress. When we are living out of alignment of our personal core values, guess what happens? Resistance. And when we are in that state of resistance, we feel like we are losing control, and that's where anxiety, stress, and panic set in. Gaining clarity on your core values will help you start living more in alignment with them. And when your decisions align with your core values, you are finally at peace. And by knowing your core values, it can help you make better decisions in your life to make sure you are always aligned with those values. Life feels simpler, life feels more purposeful, and that clarity brings a sense of calm, a sense of direction, and it replaces chaos with confidence. So knowing and aligning your 5 core values is a crucial step if you want to break free from stress and anxiety on all levels. Number 4, I alluded to this one already. We want to understand that emotions are messengers, not enemies, and that we shouldn't resist all of those uncomfortable emotions. You see, people usually say, oh, a good emotion or a bad emotion. But there's no such thing as a good or bad emotion. There's comfortable and uncomfortable emotions. And comfortable emotions are there to teach us things. Uncomfortable emotions are also there to teach us things. Anxiety and stress often feel like enemies. Overwhelm, worry, and doubt often feel like enemies that we're trying to fight against. And that only makes them stronger. The more we fight against and resist against those emotions, the stronger they're going to get. It's almost like an emotion is trying to get your attention, and you ignore it, and you push it back. You say, nope, not today. I'm not going to pay attention to that today. And it's like it knocks a little bit louder. You still say, no, I'm not going to pay attention to that. And then all of a sudden, if it can't get your attention, it starts battering down your door with a battering ram and breaks through. And that's where anxiety, stress, panic, doubt, worry, and all of those reactions and responses come in. They just flood in, and you feel like you're losing control. When you reframe your emotions as messengers trying to get your attention, and you lean into it, you tune into it, instead of resisting them, you listen to what they're telling you. And they're pointing usually to, like I said, misalignment of your values. Where are you not aligned? What decisions are you making that are out of alignment with your core values? It could be unhealed wounds, unmet needs. And when you approach your emotions with curiosity rather than fear, guess what happens? You get to the root cause and you can move forward. That's why a lot of the deep inner work I do with people happens on a subconscious level, because we're actually clearing those underlying emotions, the underlying emotional core, and we're also listening to those emotions and dealing with them as they come up. So that way we listen to those emotions and we lean into them and we get curious about them instead of constantly trying to fight against them or resist against them. Shift number 5 is exactly that, learning how to shift in the moment. Learning how to really calm your nervous system so you can see things in a different perspective without that anxious lens constantly over your eyes. Going through life with constant stress or anxiety, it's like wearing blinders. And you ever see those blinders that are on a horse? Stress and anxiety are just like those blinders. They narrow our focus and they only allow us to see that which is problematic or that which is anxiety producing. And then we only pay attention to anxiety and we only pay attention to the things that are causing us stress and anxiety. And by that time, we usually shut down or avoid. When we get to shut down or avoidance mode, guess what happens? Our brain learns that that's an acceptable, appropriate solution. And so it gives you more of that. But instead of shutting down or avoiding or getting overwhelmed, what if you could work your way through things and feel confident and in control? Confident that if there is stress or anxiety that's surfacing, you can cut it off at its tracks and you can redirect it and reroute it. So this is where understanding that stress, anxiety, overwhelm, they are habituated emotions. They become habitual because our brain learns that they're there to solve some problem. So instead of just letting the stress and anxiety control and then ruin every aspect of your life or certain aspects of your life, it's really important to learn how to shift out of stress and anxiety so you see the bigger picture. And there are many ways to do this. As I said, there are nervous system regulation techniques. There are hypnotic strategies that I use. There are what we call deep insight questions. There are pattern interrupts. And what it's doing when you learn how to shift out of stress and anxiety, boom, it is like putting up a barrier, a roadblock, or a detour. So you're stopping that pattern and it can't move forward. It has to turn back on itself. And that's where you master complete emotional and state control. This can help you focus better. It can help you get more clarity. It can help you problem solve better. And it can also help you deal with perceived threats or situations that your anxiety makes you think are stressful or threatening, helps you deal with them a lot easier, where instead of dreading them or fearing them, you can tackle them head on as long as it's appropriate. Shift number 6, you've got to know subconscious communication strategies. As I said previously, many people are going to try and solve their problems by going to therapists or taking mind-altering medications or self-medicating of sorts, or just distracting by binge scrolling on their phone or engaging in some other too much behavior. But a lot of the ways that people try to solve their emotional problems are with conscious communication or conscious solutions. Your conscious mind is a very logical, analytical part of the mind. We need subconscious communication to bypass your judgment, to communicate effectively with your subconscious mind, to re-educate it, to update it, and to tell it, hey, going into that social situation is not really a threat. Or, hey, just because you see your ex out somewhere doesn't mean that you have to have a panic attack. Or, hey, going into that meeting isn't a threat. You can actually be open and communicative in that meeting, and you can be a winner in that meeting instead of backing down. When you know subconscious communication, guess what happens? We communicate that message to your subconscious mind, and it becomes a reality. Conscious part of your mind, very logical, analytical, critical, and we cannot analyze our way out of stress or anxiety. We can't logic our way out of those uncomfortable emotions because it's not reaching that emotional level part of the mind. So when you know subconscious strategies and subconscious communication, all of a sudden you open up a whole world of freedom, of clarity, and of flexibility. Finally, letting go. Letting go of what no longer serves you. So many of us are moving through life trying to solve problems the same way we did when we were younger, or trying to solve problems through a person who's been a victim of trauma or tragedy or hurt or turmoil or loss, and we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. This means we have so much pressure, and this means the more the pressure builds, eventually we feel like we're going to explode, and that is where panic attacks and severe anxiety attacks happen. It is not a pleasant thing for that to happen, and many of you may have already gotten to that point. But when you let go of all of those traumatic emotions or those stuck emotions, when you let go of old relationships that no longer serve you, when you let go of all that stuff, all that pressure, all the expectations, all of the demands, when you let go of all of that, that pressure isn't there anymore because it doesn't have a need to be there. So think about what it would be like. Let's recap. Think about what it would be like if you could move through life where instead of having an anxious identity, you could replace that identity with one of a person who is calm, relaxed, in control, and a problem solver and an action taker. What else do you want to add on to your identity? Number 2, what would it be like if you could clear the underlying emotional cores that are driving those problematic behaviors, feelings, or emotions? What would it be like if you could clear the residual effects of trauma, sleeplessness, anxiety, stress, fear, worry, doubt, panic, frustration, overwhelm? What would it be like if you could just clear all that stuff and you could move forward? How would your career or your business be different? How would your relationships be different? How would your relationship with yourself be different? Think about that. And as you answer these questions to yourself, notice that these answers that you're coming up with in and of yourself might pull some resources that you already have out so you can use those resources. Number 3, knowing your personal core values. What would it be like if you could discover your core values and live in alignment, where you surround yourself with people, things, experiences, and opportunities that support your core values instead of resist against them? What would it be like for you to be clear about what they are? It would probably feel more purposeful, right? You'd probably have more purpose. You'd probably feel more fulfilled. You'd probably feel more complete. And that's the importance of knowing your personal core values. Again, number 4, understanding your emotions are messengers. What would it be like if you could have a better relationship with your emotions instead of constantly trying to resist? What would it be like if you could finally, once and for all, have a good relationship with your emotions and feel like you are in control of them? What would it be like if you started to feel uncomfortable, but you could shift out of that discomfort and you could shift out of the stress, shift out of the anxiety, stopping that pattern, and replace that pattern with better states of mind, ones of confidence, ones of self-control? What would it be like if you could shift within 60 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes, shift out of those feelings, sensations, or emotions that once held you back? What would that be like? What would it be like if you could finally communicate with your subconscious mind, where change for you became automatic instead of challenging? What would it be like if you could actually reprogram your subconscious mind, which is that part of the mind that is in control of your thoughts, feelings, sensations, emotions, personality, and programs and habits of sorts? What would it be like if you could actually change those on a subconscious level? You have a bad habit, you just decide, I'm going to change this habit. You go into your subconscious mind, you clear the underlying emotions behind it, you can shift out of any discomfort, and you do the damn thing. That'd be amazing, right? And what about if you could finally let go of what no longer serves you? What would that be like? What would it be like if you could finally, once and for all, break free from all of those toxic things that you keep in your life because you feel like you have to? And it could not only be physical things, but emotional things. It could also be things like demands, pressure, expectations, frustration, guilt, resentment, anger, stress, anxiety. What would it be like if you could let all of these things go because they no longer serve you like they did before? That would be pretty powerful, right? Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I do that? Because here's the big picture. These shifts aren't just about reducing stress and anxiety. They're about transforming your entire relationship with life. Let me say that again. These shifts are about transforming your entire relationship with life. So that way you have more wins and losses, more good days and bad days, more breakthroughs and breakdowns. And hey, it doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges that arise in life. What it means, though, is you're going to fully embrace those challenges, learn from them, solve them, pull the lessons from them, navigate through them without getting stuck in them. That's what this is all about. When you change the way you think, feel, and respond, you can open the door to clarity, to peace, to growth in every area of your life. And when you have that feeling of like inner peace, and you can trust yourself, and you can accept yourself, and also all of your strengths, and you can practice patience, and you can practice the art of letting go, that's where it's like that sigh of relief. Like, why did I wait so long to do this? Why did I waste years and years trying to just deal with this or just accepting this is the way I am when it's not the way you are? It doesn't have to be the way you are. So if you are sick and tired of just grinding the gears, and you are sick and tired of just feeling like everything is a constant struggle, I get it. I totally get it. And I was there. I was there for many years. And it finally took me a hot minute to apply the strategies that I've been using with clients for years and apply them to myself. And now I apply them to other people so that they can just have an easier life. And we all have challenges. We all have shit that happens in our life, but it's how we deal with it and how we work our way through it instead of getting stuck in it. This can also help you get into better flow states. It can help you focus. It can help you concentrate. It can help you set boundaries. This helps you level up when you apply these 7 shifts. Now, if you don't think you can apply these on your own, some people can, and some people need a little bit more assistance. If these shifts resonate with you, imagine what your life would be like if you could fully embody them. And that's exactly what I do and what I help people achieve in my programs. And we actually just introduced levels to my programs, guiding you step by step to help you reprogram your mind, your nervous system, your body, your life, your thoughts, your way of thinking into one that is a life that you create and that you deserve. So my friends, if you would like to step up your game, all you have to do is just check out the link in the description of this video, or even there might be a button depending on where you're watching this video, and it can help you get started doing some of that inner work that can help you transform. With that said, my friends, as always, be well, do good, be true to who you are, happy healing, and I look forward to helping you hopefully make the transformations that you want, that you need, and that you deserve.